A new science pop-up is making its way around the province. It's taking your questions, no matter how complicated or zany. The Curiosity Shop was created by the Council of Ontario Universities. And once you submit a question, you'll get a serious response from a researcher who's studying that subject. Or is in that field. The idea is to better connect the public with Ontario researchers. In a moment, we'll hear more about the initiative. But first, joining me is a Barrie father who submitted a rather unique question a few months ago. Tim MacNaughtan joins me to talk about the experience. Good morning.
Good morning, Wayne.
So what question did you put to the Curiosity Shop and why?
Our question was, what was the most likely cause of a zombie apocalypse?
Okay.
And
what was the origin of that?
well, we're avid fans of The Walking Dead, and we'd also seen the movie World War Z.
Mm-hmm.
So there had been lots of discussions in the household about what we would do if a zombie apocalypse would come, and where would we go, and most importantly, if you're attacked by a zombie, how you would kill a zombie.
And you didn't have the answer for that, Tim?
Well, I had my own answers, but I guess more opinions are always better.
Yeah. Okay. So did you think that you would actually get a response?
No, it was a day trip to the university on tour, and we went in and they said, come and post a question. So I posted the question, and then it was a busy weekend, so we pretty much forgot until Friday. Someone from the council phoned and said you've received some responses.
Oh, my goodness. How did you react? Because you received not just one, but you actually got two.
I was quite surprised because, as I said, we'd forgotten all about it. And also the interest it's generated is a little surprising as well.
Yeah. Okay. So, dun-da-da-da, then, what were the answers then? The question was, what would be the most likely cause
Yes.
of a zombie apocalypse?
Yes.
Okay. And the answer is?
Well, there were two answers. One from a PhD candidate from RMC, and her answer was that it was likely a blood chemistry disorder. And then one from a professor from Wilfrid Laurier, and she went through a number of possibilities, disease and virus, but she also continued to describe what an apocalypse was and what the significance of that event would be.
And what was the best way to kill a zombie then, too?
I don't think either of them answered that question.
They didn't answer that part, though.
No.
Oh, so that's still unanswered.
Yes.
I was always told you had to make a clean headshot.
Well, that's what I have been seeing, but I did have a discussion with one of the biologists at the Curiosity Shop, and I thought a zombie, it's still a human body, and it still needs to be fed. So I would think you would kill a zombie just like you would kill anyone else.
Now, what did your sons think of the answers?
They quite enjoyed the answers.
Are they satisfied?
Yes, they're satisfied, but they're very curious about why everyone is so interested.
Because this is actually based on real research, right?
Yes, it is.
So, but did it not inspire them that, hey, you know what? Other people take this seriously.
I'm not sure. I think they're still a little confused. As it was sort of a off the hand question. It was something that we'd been thinking about, but they didn't think that it was why so many people would be interested.
Yeah. Well, you see, research is not boring, and we're going to find out more about this whole Curiosity Shop as well. Tim, thank you very much for sharing your story.
Thank you very much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Tim MacNaughtan's from Barrie. Joining me now to talk about the Curiosity Shop is Andrew Seo. He's a project assistant with the Council of Ontario Universities and part of the team that created the booth. Hi there.
Hi, Wei. Good morning.
What was it that inspired the Curiosity Shop?
Well, Curiosity Shop is part of a broader campaign in concert with the Ontario Universities called Research Matters. And the whole purpose was to raise awareness about the important research that's being done at our Ontario universities. So what we truly wanted to do is have the public gain and feel a sense of ownership and pride in Ontario University research. And as a result of that came out the idea of a curiosity shop to engage directly with the public. Yeah.
So, okay, so when Tim was talking about this booth, I was picturing something like at a carnival, with some with a dummy inside or something, where you place a little card inside. But what does it actually look like?
So what it is it's a traveling pop-up venue. So you could envision sort of a booth, a sort of enclosed space where people come in, and it's literally a shop. So there's a post-it wall where people can actually post their questions. When we welcome any question at all, from anything related to environment, economy, healthcare, pop culture, as such was Tim's question. And they can post it on the wall, or they can also take a picture with their question written on sort of a whiteboard. And what we'll then do is we'll send out those questions to Ontario researchers after the event, and then wait for the responses from our researchers.
What are some of the more intriguing questions you've received so far?
I would say I'm quite impressed by the incredible breadth of the questions. Mm-hmm. So we've had a lot of science questions. For example, what happens inside a black hole? We've actually got sort of more philosophy-related questions as well. Why is the grass always greener on the other side? And then we had a little boy at our Toronto event last week who asked, why am I so different from my twin brother? So those were some of the fun questions that we've had at some of our events. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, isn't the answer for the black hole nothing?
No. Yeah, actually, I've just reread the answer on the website, and yes, it is. A Carleton researcher from Etienne Rollin actually wrote a text-based response, and the answer is indeed nothing.
So how do you actually make sure, though, that the question gets to the right person who can answer it?
Well, we have a whole network of research communicators and also researchers who are affiliated with the Research Matters campaign. So what we do is we send out those questions to the network. Obviously, we do a bit of a selection process. We try and find the most interesting questions, perhaps even the most popular, but also questions that aren't easily findable through a simple search engine sort of operation. So maybe questions that might require a bit more context, maybe questions that may actually have varying perspectives as well. Those are highly welcome.
Yeah. Now, Tim MacNaughtan was saying that his kids were actually surprised and a little bit confused.
Oh.
That someone was actually researching this.
Oh, yes. And I guess it speaks to the incredible breadth and diversity of research that's being done in this province. But I just thought it was great that it sort of got answers from a PhD student in chemistry, but also Penelope Ironstone in the Department of Communications at Wilfrid Laurier University. So it is something, a topic of study for sure, and it also touches upon a lot of disciplines as well. Communications, obviously.
I love that anyone can pose anything, and don't be afraid, whatever question you want to answer. But do you think there is the risk, though, of people thinking that it's frivolous, that they might question the type of research people are doing in universities?
Not so much, because we've actually had a lot of sort of questions that have really sort of touched home for a lot of people. For example, in Ottawa, we had one gentleman ask, how close are we to a cure for Parkinson's disease? And the man's family was actually touched, had someone in their family who was actually affected by the disease. And so those types of questions are quite highly relevant to people's lives. And in terms of, I guess, with the zombie-related questions, I guess it is something that we also wanted to sort of express how incredibly diverse research can be and how fun and engaging research can be, and that all of these sort of topics are relevant to our daily lives. When we sort of punch out at 5, I mean, what do? I mean, we go to the movies, we watch TV, I mean, we spend times with our families. All of these events affect how we live, work, and play. So I would say that it is still deeply relevant and I think worthy of study in our universities. So yeah, I would say that it's not so much as frivolous, but it takes some sort of second thought to realize, I think, that perhaps it's sort of something to clarify for what our researchers do in our university.
Well, Andrew, thank you so much for telling us all about it. As someone who's always curious, I appreciate it very much.
Great. Thank you so much, Wei.
Andrew Seo is a project assistant with the Council of Ontario Universities. He's also part of the team that created the Curiosity Shop, as well as the Curious Cruiser, a mobile version of it. The Cruiser will be making its way to the Mariposa Folk Festival in Orillia next month. You can also catch it in Kingston and Cornwall in July.
For more CBC podcasts, go to cbc.ca/podcasts.